Hello, so in this video we will be going over the Coarse values for the iOS attribution network, also formerly called SKAN network or SKAN network. And for that we will go over the documentation in Adjust, which has quite nice visualization of how Coarse values work and what and when they come in. So the first part will be we will go over the Coarse values, which is basically the matrix you see already, and we try to declutter this. So follow me into the matrix. So with that being said, let's go. We have this matrix here, which has Postback 1, Postback 2, and Postback 3. So those are all the Postback, which is like the events that are being sent back to you, but also to, for example, Facebook. And on the other side, we have like the measurement windows, which we discussed before. Let me quickly switch the color. The measurement windows, how much delay happens between sending the postback and receiving the postback, and the different anonymization tiers. So that one is new. And then a couple of things here. We have a list with source IDs, which are like 2 to 4 digits or 2 digits. This is for the advertiser specifically. Those are encoded values that give you, like not you, but for example, Facebook will know which campaign belongs to the conversion value that they have just received. And depending on how many values you receive here, the more detailed information is. So for example, if you only have 2 values, it can be that this is only a campaign. If you have 4 values, then Facebook might already go to the ad to say, okay, this ad has received a conversion. And of course, like this is all for anonymization. So meaning that the higher tier you are, the more conversion touch points you have, or that you send, so that Apple can safely say that this is anonymized to a degree where they can safely say that this is an ad click, for example, or the point where they can share the 4-digit source ID. And how are those different tiers defined? Nobody knows. Like this, this is specifically for iOS. They don't share this information, which is of course like, okay, I get this, but if you need to explain this at some point, you will see also that okay, so we expect this to be some sort of anonymization hierarchy here. Anyways, let's go back to the actual part here, which is Postback 1. 0 to 2 days, we already spoke about this. Let me switch colors. And there is a delay from 24 hours to 48 hours, meaning that the earliest time you receive something is after 3 days. Meaning that if you trigger a conversion that says, okay, there has been a registration, then you, like in this scenario, in the normal scenario, you would get the conversion 3 days later, or the ad network would get the conversion 3 days later, which is, of course, like not ideal for your campaigns, but that's how the SKAN network works, or the ad attribution network works. And here, for example, since we disregard these source IDs for now because they don't mean anything for us as a business, you see that only in tier 3 and tier 2, you have fine conversion values. So this is the one; those are the values we discussed before. And everything else is Coarse values. We skipped none because that's for us is not interesting right now, because that's tier 0. And of course, like if you don't have any conversions, you don't get any information, right? So that's we don't have to discuss any information, hopefully. So what happens here is you have like 4 different. We have like 4 different Coarse conversion values: low, mid, and high. And here you also have low, mid, and high, and here you also have low, mid, and high. So second postback, of course, still 3 to 7 days, and you have a delay from 24 days to 24 hours up until 144 hours, which should be around 6 days. Same here. So meaning that if you close after 7 days, you have at least 8 on day 8 a conversion sent by the SKAN network or by the ad attribution network, and up to 6 days. So meaning that in total you're looking at maybe 15 days before you get like the information that actually a specific event has happened. Same here, right? We discussed this already. And now the good part here is that those conversion values, those Coarse conversion values are, you can define different values per postback window. What those are, I tell you in a second, but just keep in mind that between the postback windows, I can configure something differently here. What's already important is that if you look at the measurement windows, and this is also a nice chart here, Coarse values are basically hierarchical events. So for example, on your first postback, you would say a sign up or registration is a low event that someone has to reach in order to use the app, for example. The second tier could be, or the medium tier would be to say someone has, for example, started a piece of content or something different. And a high tier would be someone actually purchased. Based on those things, you would model your hierarchies here. And then you would kind of like for the second measurement window, you can use different hierarchies. You can still say the purchase is the most important thing that you want to happen, that needs to happen. But for example, if someone reaches a medium event here, it doesn't mean that they have purchased in the next step, right? So meaning we need to specifically define those postbacks in order to always get the events that we want to optimize on. And in our case, like for every business that's purchased, besides of like a couple of other businesses where it's kind of like time spent. But in the end, it's always about revenue. So always a key event that is linked to money in this case. Okay, going over some examples from Adjust. Here you see a couple of, let me go over here. For example, for the first measurement window, on general, they would say something like, measurement window 1 is for test engagement signals, measurement window 2 is for confirm engagement signals, and measurement window 3 is for track lifetime value. I find this naming a bit let's say strange, because if we again look at when something is being sent, it's 8 to 35 days. So we're not speaking like of any lifetime value topics, right? Unless your business doesn't do anything in those 25 days, well, after those 35 days, which hopefully is not the case. But in general, like track lifetime, I would generally optimize based on key events that you have here. So meaning that if you have a new user, a high event should always be something that is the key action. In most cases, it's purchase. But regardless, they also give you some examples here. So for example, okay, the first session, the tutorial completed, trial started, or a first session revenue range from 0 to 2 USD, and revenue ranges from 2 to 10 USD that you can configure, of course. And then they kind of like go, what they do here is they just switch. So you see like the connected line here just says, okay, so tutorial completed becomes the lowest tier here. And then we have like try started becomes the lowest tier here, and so on and so on. In general, this is a nice approach, but always tailor this a bit more to your business, because every business is kind of different. But in the end, everything should be centered around a purchase or something that leads to money, ideally. And then what's also quite nice with SKAN 4 is that we have log windows. A log windows means that I can log a conversion and receive a postback a bit earlier, and therefore also the ad networks receive the postback earlier. So here they have an example of the first postback window. They haven't, like postback window happens after 2 days. It takes them 24 to 48 hours, and then of course the second postback window starts. And after a couple of days, they have reached the high Coarse value that you can log, because there's no higher event that you would trigger. And then you still have to, of course, like wait the 24 to 144 hours, and then you receive your event a bit earlier. Nevertheless, what is also important to say is that, still the third postback window doesn't start earlier, right? So meaning that just because you lock the event, it doesn't mean that the third postback window starts earlier. And that's about it. Like the documentation is quite nice. If I can, I will add the links to Adjust there. I also have to say, like, I'm not affiliated with Adjust. There are a couple of providers you don't get, or like you will hear in the space, which is Adjust and AppsFlyer, of course. And the sad part is that you will not be able to do this yourself, just because if you want, for example, data from Facebook, then you're out, because Facebook only works with like these kind of MMPs, like the mobile measurement partners. Which kind of ends in you needing to go for one of those platforms. But in any case, documentation is nice, and in general, it's a good point to start your journey with the SKAN network. And in general, it's also nice to see and read through it. Thank you very much.